this lesson, you will be learning about SQL. Look at the table on the screen. Look at the question underneath. What would this SQL query return? Pause this video to think about this. Right, this query would return all the ratings that are less than 2. So we are looking at the choice between these two ratings that are less than 2 and where the user ID equals Jade01. So in this case we go to user ID Jade01 and it will return this record here. We're now going to record your homework. Your homework is to complete revision notes for SQL on the document Introduction to Computing Homework Term 3. To do this, you will need to go to Google Classroom, go to the Classwork tab, look for the title Homework, scroll down to Introduction to Computing Homework Term 3, load up the Google Slides document and complete the slide SQL. Now you can do this in the form of mind maps, flashcards or Cornell notes. Pause this video to record your homework. The objectives for today's lesson are to know what SQL is, to be able to use SQL to search for data, and to be able to explain the different elements of SQL. The big picture. SQL is a programming language that we use for databases. You may remember in Year 8 that you searched a database for a crime scene that took place in a school. The unit was called Murder Most Horrid. We're now going to be looking at the language that is used to search for databases. Okay, before we pursue onto the next slide, I would like you to watch a video to help you understand SQL. To do this, you will need to go to the Classwork tab in Google Classroom, scroll down to the lesson SQL, scroll down to Lesson 4 SQL and watch the video titled The Use of SQL to Search for Data. Pause my video to watch this video on SQL now. Right, to summarise, these are the commands that you need to be familiar with in SQL. Select specifies which fields to include from the database. From states which tables the fields will come from. Where includes any criteria that you will be using. And order by will sort the results into a particular order. Now we can also use the asterisk sign as a wildcard to use all. You are now required to complete the task for this lesson. To do this, you will need to load up the lesson worksheet. It is titled up Lesson 4 Worksheet. Once you've loaded the worksheet, you will need to click on this link. Once the page has been loaded, you may need to click on the right hand side to restore the database so you have access to all the tables and records. You will be writing your SQL queries here, and you will use the run command to test the queries and see what results they bring back. Now the questions for your query are placed in this document here. You will need to write down the code that you've used for each SQL query and put a screenshot of the results that you get. Pause this video now to do this. Okay, once you've completed the table, you will need to go on to the questions below the table to explain each of the words from SQL. Right, once you've completed the table, you will need to go and answer the questions below the table to explain what each of the commands do using SQL. Pause this video now to do this. Right, we'll now move on to the plenary. Think about, what is SQL? What do the following commands specify? Select, from, where and order by. Once you've done this, remember to hand your worksheet in at the end of the lesson.